We are brought into this world and pass through it. And in the early years, we begin to get one major feeling about life. A feeling and a thought and an attitude that overwhelms all else. That feeling is that of helplessness. We come in here into this life and we associate with other people and with events, and everything seems so much stronger and wiser, more powerful, even domineering. And we look at ourselves and we see we have no power at all, no authority, no wisdom, and we attribute, incorrectly I might add, we attribute wisdom and power and right authority to other people. And we even welcome it in many wrong instances because we think that other people know more than we do. They have the answers to life. And much to our sorrow in later years, we find out that they didn't have the answers at all. They played the part of someone having the answers. And when we're young, small, because we know so little ourselves, we're so eager to look around and find someone who can guide us, help us, that we believe in people. And we get all sorts of strange ideas about where our salvation, our deliverance, and our strength is going to come from. But for the first many years of our lives, the dominating feeling is one of utter helplessness. We may not show it on the outside. We may bluff and we may pretend that we have it made, that we know what we're doing. But inwardly, we cry a lot. And we feel that we're at the mercy of everything out there. And this feeling of being at the mercy of life urges us to want to do something about it. And we always make the wrong move. We begin to feel incorrectly, think incorrectly, that if we're overpowered by other people out there, by events, by circumstances, by luck, as we call it, by fate, we feel that there is one thing we can do, which is the greatest mistake of our life. We feel that we can protect ourselves by hiding out. When we feel helpless, the phrase, how can I protect myself against the threat of the world? People tell me I must be successful, and I don't know what that means. People tell me I must behave in a certain moralistic fashion, and that doesn't make any sense to me at all, especially when I see my advisors doing the exact opposite. So we see the threats coming at us from north, east, southwest. And we start building a wall around ourselves, around our lives, hoping, thinking that they will protect us from that threat that is so ununderstandable. We don't understand what it's all about. We reason if we could even understand the enemy, maybe we could push it back, keep it away from hurting us. And it hurts us quite constantly. Has this been your experience in life? Of course it has. So we say, there's one thing I can do, which is to protect myself by putting up a brick wall around me. So if you'll just picture a man going out and he has his home, which is his self. He goes out and he gets lots of bricks and he gets cement. And he starts at one side of his property line and starts to build a brick wall. And he gets it up, a few bricks up. No sooner as they have them up, then he looks over his shoulder and someone is attacking him from the other side, so he races over there, puts up bricks over to the west, over to the east. The first few years of our life, in fact more than a few years, are spent in erecting a brick wall around ourselves. Wasn't there a point in your life when you got tired of being hurt by people? So here's this man working frantically for the first several years of his life, building this very thick and very high brick wall around him. And he stays inside it, and he says, at last I'm safe. Nobody's going to hurt me now. He's built up all these ideas that he has about religion, about where he's going in life, and he repeats phrases about how powerful he is in the world. And he hides behind this cluster of ideas as to how he's going to be safe for the rest of his life. But inwardly, it's quite a different situation, and he knows it. What he took as the right course for his protection has become his prison. There he is. And you'll understand what I mean on the next phrase. There he is, trapped by himself, living with himself, all his ideas, all his acquisitions, including all the ideas about how he's going to protect himself from a cruel world out there. So he has all these ideas, and he's inside the high, thick brick wall, and he is still scared. And I have described the life of practically every human being on earth. Now look how confused he is, how doubly hurt, how frustrated. He said, I took a normal, logical course in preventing people and events from hurting me, and it still happens. Now listen to what I'm going to say next. His pain becomes so bad, so severe, that an incredible thing happens to him. He begins to believe that his lack of protection is protection. He begins to call his pain pleasure. He begins to think that he's okay as long as he stays behind the walls, that he's at least in charge of his little kingdom there, and everything is all right. And he refuses to see the agony and the heartache and the anger that contradicts it. His words say one thing, I'm okay, and his feelings say the exact opposite. Now look the state he's in. Haven't I described everyone? Haven't I described you? Everything inside this circular wall, everything is the man's enemy. Everything inside is his enemy because it's all delusion. It's all make-believe. It's all a wrong move. Therefore, anything he does, any action he takes while living inside this psychological brick wall, any move he makes is going to be wrong. It can never be right. Everything is wrong inside there because everything is wrong with his thinking. He doesn't understand himself. He doesn't understand a woman that he's in relationship with. And so he has a sex problem. He has a relationship problem in a dozen ways with the world out there. And he doesn't understand it because he says, I'm safe, and yet I'm at the mercy of that woman. He's at the mercy of his wrong memory, which comes up and instructs him to do this or that, and the memory guides him wrong. This is what he's counting on, his memory to guide him right, but it always guides him wrong because he made it wrong in the first place. Here's the situation. Here is the situation of human beings. Having been hurt in younger years, not knowing how to handle it. We didn't have the intelligence, the wisdom to know how to reply to that sick world out there. We didn't know. We didn't understand. We thought that those people were helping us, and they weren't. They were hurting us. So we come back inside the wall and listen to what I'm going to say next, and explain all. It will explain all human wars and all human crimes to you. Here's this man inside the wall, in his frustration and his anger and his violence, all carefully concealed from himself, of course, all pressed down, all this pressure inside of him. He doesn't know what to do with it. He thought he did, but now he's inside. He doesn't know what to do with it. You know that suffering is a great pressure? He has to find a release, doesn't it? And do you know what he does? And you'll see the illustration in this. That man inside there, not knowing what to do with himself, not which direction to turn in. You know what he does? This explains wars and crime and 1,000 other problems. He reaches down for a brick. He tosses it out over the wall, and the next door neighbor over that way, who is also in his wall, gets hit by it. The neighbor feels the rock on his head, and he said, who did that? He doesn't know. He's inside the wall. He doesn't understand any other human being. He's just as locked in as the other man. But he got hit on the head by an accidental rock thrown by a man with pressure. And what do you think he says? He says, even inside my protective wall, I get hurt. There must be evil people out there. He picks up the rock and he throws it over in another direction, hits a third man. Third man picks it up, throws it to all the people inside their walls, all throwing rocks at each other insanely, not knowing what they're doing. Here's the man. He's got all this anger and violence in him, and he picks up the rock and he throws it and hits another man. That is what is called a lack of conscience, a lack of ordinary decency. What does he care? All he knows is this terrific force that must express itself, must explode like a volcano, and he picks up the rock and he throws it in any direction. And this is what he does all day long, and this is why he gets rocks on top of his head all day long. And he says to himself, I have to keep throwing those rocks. That's what they're doing to me, which, by the way, is a very childish statement. Why don't you try sometime not throwing a rock at someone else, a verbal rock, an emotional rock, a rock of a wrong facial expression. Why don't you try not throwing at them sometime and see the different thing that goes on inside of you? It'll put you through some disturbance, different kind of disturbance, because all this time you've been taking the energy and doing the wrong thing with it. Next time you're going to throw a rock, pause a little bit, and that will begin to give you a clue that you don't have to do that. On with the story. We've left the man inside the wall, frustrated, not knowing what to do. And the reason he doesn't know what to do, because as long as you are inside the wall all by yourself, you are in sheer ignorance of the way out. The way out, even that doesn't occur to him as a possibility. How can he know the way out when he's in? If he was to hear someone say, you can get out of here, what does that mean to him? He wants to be there. That's what he chose, and that's where he feels safe. At the same time, he feels most unsafe. Now, if we left human beings in this condition that we've just left this man, it would indeed be a very hopeless situation. There'd be no hope for man if this is where we left it. But now you listen to me. There is an outside of the wall. There is space outside of every wall that a human being has built up outside of him. Shall I tell you what that space is? You won't understand it because you're inside walls, but I will explain it to you in words, and if you'll follow what we're going to cover later, you'll see it for yourself. Outside of the wall is something that is called God, something that is called eternity. Outside the wall is innocence, peace. Outside the wall is sanity. Outside the wall is light, freedom, everything that a human being way down deep yearns for and yet distorts. Now, up to this point, I've given you the two conditions. The state that man is in right now and the state that any one of you in this room or watching this film can attain if you do what it is necessary to do. And that will be explained to you too. Our man is inside the wall, suffering terribly, keeping it well hidden from himself and from other people, pretending that he's happy, because pretense must be inside the wall with that man. It's a false condition situation, therefore he must pretend that all is well, that he's doing exciting things. So here he is inside. Every once in a while, a certain human being on earth, inside their own little self-made prison, will begin to hear something that is coming right through the wall. And what they're hearing is a voice, a message of reality, a spiritual message that is trying to get through that very thick and high wall and to try to tell the man the mistake he has made. And that voice is the voice of God indeed. And this voice is trying to penetrate the wall and get through to the man certain basic preliminary facts.